We want to welcome Lana Smithson. Lana and I first met in 2019 on one of Jim Abernathy's Tiger Beach expeditions, and since then, we have visited together a few times in Florida. What impressed me the most about Lana was her water cleanup passion. On one of our local dives at the Blue Heron Bridge, she had her collection container on her while diving. I got to watch her picking up fishing hooks and all sorts of trash in the water. Let's welcome Lana, and I'll hand it over to you if you want to share your screen.
Thank you so much and for caring and everything you do to help animals and the environment. It's much appreciated. Before I share my screen, I'll talk a little bit. I do most of my cleanups while scuba diving. Most of what I clean up is fishing gear. I will pick up other trash as well, but most of what I get is fishing gear. I started collecting so much fishing gear that I decided to document it. I started a Facebook page called Fishing Gear Cleanup. I always document what I find because what's out of sight is out of mind. Most people don't think about fishing gear littering underwater because they don't see it. And so I just want to raise awareness that it's a mess in waterways with fishing gear, more than what people think. And so just document, raise awareness, and hopefully save some animals too.
You actually weigh how much you pick up.
I did pick up a lot of lead weights, fishing sinkers, and I don't know how many hundreds of pounds I have now. I've lost track. I should really weigh it all to see what my total is. I've lots and lots of fishing line, thousands of hooks and lures.
What do you do with all of that?
I have it all in my shed, basically, in containers, and I keep it for any opportunities for educational purposes. There have been times I've taken it to someplace and spread it all out on a tarp because when you see it and you see what's been pulled out of the water, it's pretty amazing to see the vast quantity. So far, I've been keeping it just in case those opportunities come up. One of these days, I'll pull it all out and take like a picture of all of it together or a video or something.
What has been the most contaminated location that you've dove at?
There are two spots where I pick up a lot of fishing gear with friends. One is a river here in Maine, in the Saco River. There's one spot near a boat ramp where apparently a lot of people fish. When we first discovered it, we couldn't believe it was this thick web that went on, and we just started chipping away at it. We couldn't do it all at once. We've done like 16 dives there and we still find it. That's someplace where we go just to clean up and we always come up with a lot. And the Blue Heron Bridge in Florida always has fishing gear and a lot of divers pick it up. Even with a bunch of people picking it up, we always keep finding it. I've never been on a dive there where I haven't picked up a bunch of fishing gear.
So it's not necessarily just a saltwater situation, it's a freshwater situation, it's every type of water situation.
Absolutely. Freshwater, saltwater. I did a cleanup dive last week in a lake and we picked up a lot of line from the lake. And even though I do underwater cleanup while scuba diving, this I encourage just everybody, if you paddleboard or swim or snorkel or walk along the shore of waterways, that's where a lot of trash builds up to. That's where you can find fishing line, fishing hooks in trees. I found it tangled in trees, even on the edges of waterways, whether it be a river, lake, or ocean. Speaking of fishing hooks, some people are hesitant to pick them up because they're really sharp and dangerous. So when I first started picking up fishing hooks, what I did is, and I guess now I'll share my screen. One thing I wanted to say about the fish hooks is I have this old peanut butter jar. I drilled holes in it. Water would drain out. Put a line on the lid so I don't lose the lid. and then put a thing to hold it, to carry it with me. Old plastic jars are great for fish hooks. It keeps them safe in the sturdy jar.
I have a jar that I would enjoy using for that purpose.
Yeah, and I've made a bunch of them, like different sizes and stuff. This jar happens to have a little lid that pops off and pops back on. Any kind of jar, that's really good for fishing hooks if someone's worried about the sharpness. You can carry that safely, whether you're on land or underwater. And also, one thing I've been using a lot is this mesh bag. It's made by Armor. I'll supply you with a link in the comments.
And do put the link to your fishing gear cleanup in the chat.
This is a great thing because the mesh is a very fine mesh, and I've stuffed many fishing hooks in this, and they've never poked out. What's nice about this is it's got a Velcro opening, so it's really easy. I don't have to unscrew the jar. This is really easy. I just open the mesh, and it's got a little hook here. I hook it to me. Either the jar or one of these Armor mesh bags. They call these shark tooth collection bags or shell collection bags because of the tight mesh. It's really good for small items and fish hooks. A friend of mine actually got that for me, and it's worked out really well.
Good to know.
Those are good collection ways for fishing gear or any other sharp, if you come across anything sharp. So now when I collect underwater, this might not necessarily apply as much on land, but underwater, like on my page, Fishing Gear Cleanup, I put a little note at the top, which I'll read to you. When removing litter underwater, please consider whether or not removing it would do more harm than good. Sometimes fishing line is tightly wrapped around delicate coral or sponges, and pulling on it could do more damage. Consider cutting exposed pieces of line off with scissors and leave the rest that is embedded. Medical shears are really great for cutting fishing line, and we have to assess each situation. Underwater, litter such as cans and glass bottles often becomes habitat for some animals, such as octopuses, crabs, and fish, and should be left alone habitat. And I and others don't remove glass bottles from sites where octopuses enjoy occupying the bottles. But I do remove plastic bottles after carefully checking them, of course, since the plastic does break down and is bad for the environment. So litter should be carefully checked before removing items such as plastic bags, chip bags, etc. underwater. I always turn them inside out to make sure no critter is inside. I once picked up a small candy wrapper in the ocean and noticed a tiny crab clinging to it. So I carefully removed the crab and placed him on the bottom. Another time I picked up a sock on the bottom of the ocean and there was a little fish hiding inside of it. Check to see if there have been any eggs deposited by an animal on an item. Carefully assess whether a piece of trash should be removed or left behind. Aquatic animals will try to hide in a piece of trash or maybe lay eggs on a piece of trash. So it's important to take a careful look at the trash and make sure you're not pulling up a little fish inside a container or something. I don't think that applies as much if you're just on land, but it could. I did find a plastic bag once on a shoreline, and it had a little critter inside, a little shrimp. It had just washed up on the shore. I remember being surprised to see this little animal in there, and I, of course, let him out. But yeah, so just important to check. And yeah, so what I do with this is I have different albums. So far, I have New England and Canada. I have an album for animals affected by fishing gear. Like I have removed hooks from some animals. I've detangled some animals. And when I am able to get pictures of, say, a live animal in distress, then I put it in this album, Animals Affected by Fishing Gear. And then I have Florida Reefs and Wrecks, Florida Blue Heron Bridge, because that's a very specific site. And of course, profile picture and the other pictures. But I'd like to add another album for anywhere in the world. So if you or anyone you know picks up any kind of fishing litter, it doesn't matter if it's freshwater, saltwater, another state or another country, I'll make another album. If somebody sends me the picture of what you've picked up, I'll add it to the album. And it all just helps to raise awareness of what's
Right.
out. So I would love to showcase what other people are picking up too.
Is there a way that literati or something like that could be used?
What's that?
Is there any way that a app like Literati could be used?
Oh, I don't know. I've never heard of it, so I'd have to look into that.
Literati, Littreati, is an app that we used to use for our ground cleanups. You can tag the location, snap a picture of it, and it gets uploaded to the app.
Wow.
You could create a campaign on the Literati app that people could also, from anywhere in the world, just upload straight to their phone. So, just an idea.
Interesting. Yeah, I'd never heard of that. That's very cool. I actually do have some pictures from other places other than New England, Canada, and Florida. Like I picked up some fishing gear when we were in Greece last year. So I'd love to start another album with other places in the world. It's just so much. I'll open this album for New England in Canada. And so each picture is from a scuba dive. Here, where it shows a lot, that's from that river I was talking about.
From one dive.
This was
From
one
one,
dive. My friend, who we do this together, also picks up pretty much an equal or even more amount.
that looks pretty old because you can see the growths on there. The
Some has been there a long time because it's been building for years before we discovered this spot. And we've been trying to get what we can. We have freed crabs entangled so badly they couldn't even move. Both of us have done that, my friend and I. That's fishing line I collected on one dive. It's such a mess. This is stuff I found on shore, a pond in Maine. Most of what I have is from scuba diving. I remember I was just walking along a shore and that was there. It's like a web of fishing gear. This is in the river, tangled on underwater branches and things like that. And like the Blue Heron Bridge, every one of these pictures is from a separate dive. And this is just me, and just think there's a whole bunch of other divers who pick it up too.
right.
So if you can imagine, if I'm picking up all this on one dive and
It's
other,
amazing. It's a very popular spot.
yeah, and this doesn't even show what other people are picking up too. I'm so grateful that there's so many people. Imagine if nobody did, what the underwater world would
Do
look
you have
like here.
pictures of the animals that are actually at this spot to show people?
Yeah, I have like this is a fish that I removed a hook from. It's hard to see, but the top picture, there's a hook sticking out of the mouth. This fish actually swam up to me on a night dive. There was trailing fishing line. I was able to grab the line. I had no experience removing hooks from fish whatsoever. Luckily, it came out. It must have not been deep, and I was able to get it out.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's just yeah, I've removed hooks from like this fish. I was able kept swimming by, has a hook in the mouth, and this fish kept circling closer and closer. Finally, I was able to grab the line. Somehow, miraculously, pulled the hook out with no experience.
Did you have to grab him?
There was line, so I was able to grab the line. This is a porcupine fish, so they have very sharp spines. Grabbing with my bare hands wouldn't be a good idea, but luckily this hook must have not been deep. If the hook had been deep, I don't know what I would have done. There have been times where I've come across fish that swallowed a hook, and there was nothing I could do. I would have done more damage trying to yank that hook out because it was like deep down. All I could do is cut the line and let the fish swim off, which broke my heart. In instances like that, I just don't know what to do. I just do what I can. Some animals I can't get to at all, like this big stingray had a huge hook. I'm not going to grab a stingray, huge stingray, and they wouldn't let me near him anyway. So I take a picture just to show people these animals are swimming around, impaled with metal objects. This poor fish was hooked and was dragging a lot of line with a lead weight at the bottom, and the lead weight was dragging through the sand. This is a barracuda. And I tried to get close enough to at least cut the line. I got so close, but he kept moving away. And I thought, this fish is obviously getting tired dragging this lead weight. And I thought I was going to be able to grab the line, and I wasn't able to. And that broke my heart too, because I wanted to get that darn lead weight off. So at least he could swim.
Right.
But yeah, so many heartbreaking things where I wanted to help, but I couldn't. Like this animal was already dead, had swallowed a lure, and basically suffocated on the lure. So there was nothing I could do but just document it. And this is a lobster that was so tangled in fishing line, completely immobilized. And my buddy and I were able to cut this lobster free. It took a long time. My buddy was holding while I was cutting. He held the lobster upside down because there was fishing line all in the legs. It just took so much cutting. Here's the lobster after we cut him free. He was obviously very tired and injured and walked off very slowly, but at least was free. Probably entangled for a long time, probably quite weak at that point. But we just do what we can, and hopefully this lobster survived. He was very large and probably older than us. They live long lives. Lobsters, if they're really large, can be quite old.
Do they live?
But I think like maybe 60, 70.
Is that all lobsters or?
I'm not sure about all the different species, but I think these types of lobsters that we see in Maine, this was in Canada, in Nova Scotia specifically, and they are long lived. So this guy or gal here might have been older than we are. And to then be immobilized in fishing line and die a slow death like that after living maybe 60 years, that's just horrible. So I'm glad we could help that one. Here's a shark that was at the Blue Heron Bridge, dead, with a big old fishing hook in the mouth and a bunch of trailing line. That was sad. So likely died from the struggle. So there was nothing I could do. I did remove the hook. Eventually, the dead animal will be eaten by other animals, and once they get to the hook, they're going to get hooked too. I just want to remove it to keep the other animals safe as well. This lobster in Maine was tangled in fishing gear. There's a big lure in the right-hand side upper part of the photo, and the claw and some legs were completely tangled. He couldn't move. Many birds and other animals get tangled in fishing line, and sometimes they're really hard to catch. Then it gets caught on a tree or something and they can't.
At a local lake by my house, a beautiful cedar waxwing I saw.
Wow. Every bit of trash picked up makes a difference, even if someone thinks, oh, that's just a little piece. For example, I once saw a video of a tiny fish trying to eat a cigarette butt.
Oh.
He was really trying to eat it, and maybe if he had been larger, he would have swallowed it. You think, oh, just one little cigarette. Some animal might choke on that. Every little piece, some little plastic ring from a water bottle or something around, every bit that's picked up is one less hazard that might hurt an animal.
Don't pass it up, pick it up.
Every bit makes a difference. That little tiny bit might get swallowed and cause an animal to choke to death. or get caught on something and be immobilized. All the animals that get affected, and Florida reefs and wrecks. So there's a lot out there. It's very sad to think of a coral reef that's really pretty and it's got all this on it. I'm just thankful for all the people who pick this up while diving. There are some organized cleanups, which are great. There's this one now in Florida called Reel It In for the Reefs that's becoming the annual event.
When I was in Tubataha earlier this year, there was quite a bit of trash in the ocean, and that's a pretty remote location. Must be coming from the currents from
Yeah.
the Philippines and stuff.
Some of the beaches I walk on, there's so much trash, but it's obvious that it came from elsewhere. Like
Right.
it's been in the ocean a long time and just washed up. It's not something that somebody on that particular beach threw on the ground. There's just so much that gets washed up from elsewhere.
We have a beach cleanup coming up on September 20th in the Chicago area. Excited about that.
Love the organized cleanups.
Because September 20th is the International Beach Cleanup Day.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Very nice. I'll have to make sure I do that on a beach. I found a bunch of fishing line right next to a no fishing sign. So somebody was fishing in that waterway, ignoring the sign. This was found by a friend of mine, and I posted it. She picked up a whole bunch of lead weights while diving. I love posting what other people find. It's all just to document and raise awareness. Most people are shocked. Sorry?
I do have some pictures that I took in Tubataha, so I'll send them your way.
People are generally really surprised to see how much is pulled out of water. People see trash on land and bottles and chip bags and plastic bags. They don't see all the stuff underwater, especially fishing gear. They see people fishing, they think the person, when they're done fishing, just walks away and carries all their stuff with them. They don't realize how much gets lost, discarded, caught on stuff. There's just so much out there. So people are so surprised to see. So that's generally what I have.
We can take some questions if anyone has any questions or comments.
I should put the links. Yeah, let me. Tegan wrote, depending on species like the American lobster, they can live over 100 years and even up to 140 years. Wow. Yeah, I knew they were long-lived. That's amazing. That is so amazing. All right, so I'll put the link of my fishing gear cleanup in there.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's the link for my page, Fishing Gear Cleanup. There was another link I wanted to give you all for the mesh bags. It's a great mesh bag for anyone, whether you're underwater or walking a shoreline. This is the mesh bag that I use from a company called Armor Bags. They call them shell bags, just really nice, tight mesh that's good for tiny, sharp objects. Perfect for fish hooks.
What are they made out of? I'm just curious. Microban.
Microban. I'm not sure what that is, but.
And they have a little hook on the top too.
Hook, so you can hook it to yourself or your equipment. It has the Velcro closure, which is really nice. So when I'm diving, it's just so easy to open that Velcro opening and stuff fish hooks down there.
All right. Anything else then? I wanted to thank everybody for coming today. I will be posting this on I forgot the name of my podcast channel, but
It's new. You said it's pretty new. You're
yeah,
just
it's a new
starting it.
podcast
So
channel on YouTube. I'll be posting it on there. I will put the link out on the Green Dolphin Project group and also put it out in the email blast so that anybody else that wants to listen to this later can reach out to Lana if you have fishing, pollution, any kind of water stuff that you want to share with her, and she'll help spread the word for you. I wanted to thank everyone for coming. That concludes our presentation.
thank you, everyone.
All right.
Thank
Take
you
care.
all for caring about the environment and animals.
Take care.